Internships. All right, and we're recording. Hello, families of potential incoming ninth grade students to the Williamsburg High School for Architecture and Design's virtual open house. My name is Maria Basilio. I'm the assistant principal responsible for testing, security, guidance, and special education, among other things. And really glad to host this meeting this evening so you guys can hear some of our staff members, our current and former students really talk about what makes our school special. Now, the school's name is quite long. So we do call it WHSAD for short. So whenever you do hear that funny sounding word, it's the name of the school. And also, if you have any questions, we will be stopping the presentation at certain points for questions. But if you do want to ask questions on the chat, you can send a message on the chat, and we have an army of current students and former students who are willing to answer those questions for you along the chat screen. So without any further ado, I think we may get started. I'm just waiting for, okay. And Miss Wilson, just a heads up, there may be a possibility that Matthew Lucano, I believe he's still in his Work, Learn, Grow class, so he may not make it. So I'm just going to introduce you right away if he doesn't join in, okay? Okay. All right. So again, welcome to one of our virtual open houses. And just want to give you a heads up on what WHSAD is. WHSAD, we're a very small high school located in Williamsburg. We only have 600 students, about 150 students per each grade. We have a special curriculum that emphasizes architecture, design, and technology. And our expectation is that our students not only graduate our program within 4 years, but also graduate with something called a Career and Technical Education Endorsed Diploma that requires them to pass all 8 credits of architecture that we offer, as well as pass a Career and Technical Education assessment in Autodesk AutoCAD. We're quite proud of that last bullet. We are, we recently received the National Blue Ribbon Award, and we are the only public high school in New York City to have earned that recognition. So we're quite proud that the Federal Department of Education has recognized the efforts that we've done for the students of our school. So we're quite proud of that. So once again, I did say that we do offer 4 years or 8 credits worth of architecture. And with that, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Miss Kimberly Bruno, and to talk about the architecture sequence. Hi, Ms. Bruno.
Hi, Ms. Basilio, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So as Ms. Basilio said, my name is Kimberly Bruno, and I'm one of 3 assistant principals. I supervise the departments of science, math, physical education, health, and architecture and design. And as Ms. Basilio said, we have a 4-year program sequence of architecture and design courses. The first year is the Foundations of Architecture and Design, and that's taught by Mr. Geringer and Mr. Rodriguez. In this course, students are introduced to the basic principles of design, and they begin to develop their skills in both mechanical drafting and computer-aided drafting and design, which is CAD, which is the AutoCAD program that students learn, a software program. They do things such as analyze, create floor plans, elevation sections, isometric linear perspective. They learn how to use a T-square, triangle, and an architect scale. They learn basic commands in AutoCAD, and they learn how to generate drawings on the computer. The second year is taught by Ms. Rivera, and the students further develop their CAD skills in this course. And they also begin to learn more technical features of architectural structures and of simple structural elements such as beams, columns, trusses, and frames. In addition to learning AutoCAD, which is part of the Autodesk suite, the students also have an introduction to Revit in this year. And they do basic model building, construction drawings, etc. In the third year, it's taught by Ms. Moose, who is really a trained studio artist, and Mr. O'Brien, who is a trained construction trades and electrician. And he does some basic woodworking with the students, basic electrical wiring, and the kids really start to build on their design skills and the building knowledge that was introduced in the previous years. So they focus on developing skills in two-dimensional and three-dimensional transformations and fabrication skills at full scale. So all along, the kids are developing a portfolio, and at the end of the 4 years, they have a 4-year digital portfolio to take with them to college and to, obviously submit as part of their college application. The 4th year, which Mr. Codio, who's our wonderful senior year teacher, you'll be hearing from him soon, is advanced computer-aided drafting and design and the business of architecture. So the kids continue to develop their computer-aided design skills, and at this point, they're working not only with AutoCAD, they're working with Revit, they're working with Rhino, they're working with a lot of other programs that they've picked up along the way. And students really do advanced 3D modeling and design concept development. They work with a lot of our industry partners, which you'll hear a lot about shortly. And they continue to develop and finalize their portfolio, which will be submitted for college or prospective careers. So Mr. Corey will talk more about that. Students also all leave with an Autodesk AutoCAD user certified exam certification, which is part of how they get their career and technical education endorsement on their diploma. So it's a wonderful, wonderful program, and we've had many colleges come in and say, this is really like college level work that the students are doing, and you'll hear from some of our alumni who are currently in college, and they could really speak to that. I saw you there, Jalen. So you'll be hearing from our wonderful alumni. And that's all I have. So thank you again so much. And I'm going to turn it back over to my colleague, AP Basilio.
Thank you, Ms. Bruno. And once again, we do have a 4-year architecture sequence. Most CTE programs are only mandated to have 3 years worth of architecture, but we offer it starting freshman year. And I think we do really well. As you mentioned, the Blue Ribbon Award was something special, but we've had pretty decent data for over a decade now. Since 2010, we've had a 4-year graduation rate of 90% or higher. Since 2017, we've had a 4-year graduation rate of 95% or higher. Despite the pandemic shutting us down from March of last year, we had teachers who committed to live instruction since March. Most schools just posted work on Google Classroom and did not offer live instruction the way our teachers do. And we're really proud of that. And we were able to hold on and have a 96% graduation rate for the class of 2020. We're very proud of them for having the gumption, I suppose, to stick it out and work hard. And out of those students who graduated, let me just let this person in. Out of those students who did graduate, 98% of them graduated with a CTE endorsed diploma, which meant that they passed all 8 credits of that course, as well as the Autodesk certification. While they were locked down in their home devices, they were able to really just get through by and pass the examination with very, very limited support. Not in-person support. I mean, lots of online support, but very limited in-person support. And as far as 9th graders are concerned, you only receive that data if you're working with students the moment they are enrolled. Out of our freshman class last year, 96% of them earned enough credits to be on track for graduation, which is past every single class that they've had for the entire year and avoid summer school in order to be on track for graduation. Now, that's really important for us for 2 reasons. Number one, we are an unscreened program. We only have 150 slots, and out of that, we had over 1,000 applicants every single year, including last year. We really, really we don't check for Attendance, we do not check for grades or report card data. What we check for is interest in our program. Rank us number one, be willing to show up to school every single day, and we know you were willing to take advantage of the opportunities that we offer. And these opportunities start as early as that summer. We have Ms. Wilson is our work-based learning coordinator, a very extensive program that culminates into summer internships. And the only requirements that we have for summer internships is not reserved just for the honor roll students, is that number one, you apply because you're interested. And number two, you don't have to go to summer school. So that 96% number is really important to us because it means that 96% of our freshmen were eligible for these summer internships. So I'm going to start speaking. I would like for you guys to hear from our own students yourselves and what they have to say about, their time at WHSAD so far. I'm going to start from the very, very earliest grades and move up. So I would like to introduce, let me stop this presentation. Young lady, she participated in our summer bridge program and she's a current freshman participating in remote learning. Her name is Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi. Wait, can you guys see me?
I cannot see you, but I can hear you, honey.
Okay, so my name is Jennifer. I'm a freshman at WorkBased. I participated in the summer bridge program. This program is very fun to do and helps you get along with your classmates and teachers. It gives you more confidence to talk during classes. Some of your classmates are the same ones you're working with in the summer bridge, and the teachers as well. Like Mr. Virgilius that I have for architect is the same teacher I worked in the summer bridge, and it helped me in presenting more clear and more advanced than I used to talk in class, because I wouldn't talk at all in class, but with their help, they helped me advance it more and not be shy that much anymore. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And now I'll move on to a couple of sophomores. The first one is a young lady that is always, always, always present in every activity we've got. We're very proud of her taking advantage of these opportunities. Her name is Brianni. Hi, Brianni.
Hi. Hold on. I'm sorry about that.
Much better.
I'm Brianni, and I'm a current sophomore. So I apologize in advance if you hear barking in the background. That's my dog. So I'm gonna be completely honest. When I learned about WHSAD through an open house presented by my school, and I worried a lot about the general high school experience because a lot of media says, oh, high school will be the worst years of your life. Oh, high school is the worst and it sucks. I dropped out of high school and I turned out fine. It's it's stuff like that you see all the time. I'm going to be completely honest. I have enjoyed myself massively in this school. The teachers here encourage you to learn. That is 100% for certain. But they're not overly pushy about it. A lot of them are relaxed. They understand that there might be things going on at home that you need to take care of, especially now during online learning. They give you ample time to submit assignments, both online and in person. It's a very relaxed environment. You're able to attend many meetings with different teachers, talking about different opportunities. You can work with different partners because our school has a lot of those. And it's overall a great experience that opens a lot of doors for you, especially when you graduate. You're going to hear from some previous alumni, my teachers mentioned. All in all, it's been a very great experience. The classes are challenging enough to where, I actually have to pay attention in class, but not enough that I've completely given up. It's a great time. That's all I really have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brianni. And your dog would have started a bark fest with mine too. So glad your dog didn't bark. So the next student I would like to introduce is a young man, Matthew Z, a sophomore. Hi, Matthew.
Hi there. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you all right, Matthew.
All right. So my name is Matthew Z. I am a sophomore at WHSAD, and I'm gonna quickly talk about the opportunities. So as Ms. Basilio and Briani mentioned earlier, this school has many opportunities, and they're extremely well, like really well presented, and like very good partnerships with like really well established companies. I'm going to quickly talk about one that I got to participate in called the ACE Mentorship Program, where I got to meet every day of the week, once a week, with a company called WSP, which is a Canadian-based architecture and consulting firm, but they also have a office next to Penn Station. And I really love that program. The knowledge that I gained from that program allowed me to better myself in school, and the friends that I made there, and just learning from the mentors, the people that really, have studied and worked in architecture for such a long time, was an amazing experience to see, because I got to see what the real world is like and got to learn from that. And I know that many of the other partnerships that this school has are exactly the same. They're just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. And I'm going to save one more student for last, because I just want to highlight one thing about these opportunities. Again, we have a next presentation based on our work-based learning program. Since 2019, the summer of 2019, we've been invited to do something called the School-Based Summer Youth Employment Program. It's a summer youth employment program by WHSAD, but except for our students applying via lottery, they're applying through us. And in the summer of 2019, we hosted 200 students into that program, in which turn their internships then are not your typical summer youth employment internships. Many of them are with our partners. They're paid internships, and starting at $15 an hour, and they're open to students. $15 an hour for students 16 and up, and a stipend for students who are 14 and 15 years old. Because of the COVID pandemic, you heard in the news that the Summer Youth Employment Program was canceled. We had enough interest and lobbying from a part of our students and our partners to open 50 slots for our students to work remotely this past summer. So we're very happy that it stayed, and we were able to still cover internships even while we're in remote learning. In fact, just last week, we started our second year of something called Work, Learn, Grow. Last year, we were one of only 9 schools that offer this program. I apologize, I don't know how many offer it this year, but this year, 45 of our students are currently taking a course in CUNY, where they're not only earning CUNY course credits, and they're also interviewing some professionals in the field. But starting this spring, they are going to receive 200 paid internship hours at $15 an hour. And those jobs, because of COVID, range from being in person, blended, or fully remote, really depending upon the state of the DOE and the city with COVID at this time. So again, we're very happy. This is the second year in a row this has happened. And we're very happy that we're still offering internships even while in the spring, while we're in lockdown. I apologize. So the whole purpose of that, parents, you all know that there are way too many young people out there who graduate high school and move on to college, not have a single hour of work experience while in college, not know what it's like to hold a job while being in school, and learning how to prioritize and learning how to multitask. Then they get their bachelor's degrees, and then they don't know how to look for relevant work. They don't know how to hold on to a career, and they're upset and they're angry. We feel as a high school that that's a disservice to our young people. So we really do stress the importance of being able to have a functional resume by the time that you graduate high school. So I'd like to introduce to you our senior, who has taken advantage of a lot of these opportunities. His name is Matthew, who rushed here from Work Learn Pro class. So thank you, Matthew, for making it. And he's going to talk to you guys about his experience. Hi, Matthew.
Hi, everybody. I'm Matthew Lucano, and I'm a senior. So like Ms. Basilio said, yes, I did take advantage of a lot of these programs. And I have Ms. Wilson and Mr. Codio to thank, because mostly Mr. Codio, because he pushed me to do these programs, because at first I didn't really want to do it. And Ms. Basilio was the one that connected me to these programs. And I was happy with all the experience that I've gained. Because at first, when I started off as a freshman, I'm pretty sure one of the freshmen mentioned before, the Summer Bridge program, I was actually one of the first freshmen to start that program when it had started. And I thought it was a good way. I thought it was a good way for incoming freshmen, such as myself at that time, to learn what's going on before I even start my year, get me comfortable so that I'm not nervous my first year. And I also met a couple of upperclassmen, so I already had friends once my year had started. And it was also a way for the teacher, such as Mr. Codio, to see my progress. So when he saw my progress going into my sophomore year, he actually offered me a job mentoring the Summer Bridge program. So that summer, I was actually mentoring incoming freshmen, which are now, I believe, the class of 2022. So that was a good experience. And as I progressed more, he offered me an internship at an actual architecture firm. So I was going into my junior year. I was working at Heritage Equity Partners, where I worked for an architect named Toby Mosklovich. So I thought that was a good experience because it was my first experience working in an office setting. So I got an architecture setting a little bit more as well, because I was kind of to see how an architect works in an office, how they use the computers and things like that. And another opportunity that I gained, like Matthew Z said, was the ACE mentorship program, which I was in Team 6 with the Gensler office. So this is my 4th year. And the good thing is that because I was there for the full 4 years since my freshman year, they offer scholarships at this time, which will help me pay for for colleges that I would like to go to. And the thing about that is that I was also working with architects. So it was a more experience in an architecture setting, which I would just like to thank Ms. Wilson and Mr. Codio for allowing me to do these programs and watching my progress since freshman year. So now I would like to introduce Ms. Wilson. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. Before we get to Ms. Wilson, I would like to just pause for a moment, and I wonder if parents have any questions at this time.
I'd like to go.
Oh, sorry. All right, Ms. Wilson, thank you. I apologize about that.
That's all right. Hi, everyone. My name is Ms. Wilson, and I am the Work-Based Learning Coordinator for Architecture and Design. I'm also the senior math teacher, so people get to know me in a couple different capacities at WHSAD. You've heard a little bit about some of the work-based learning opportunities. I'm just going to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunities. Can't do all of them. We'd be here till January. So work-based learning is a required component of the CTE program, and it gives students a lot of opportunity to really start to narrow down what those career pathways look like and how they can get to the career that they are looking for. As Ms. Basilio alluded to, many of the students are going off to college in these fields, and we want them to really understand the different things that are available to them. So a big part of work-based learning is really about exploring these career options and interacting with professionals in the field who are able to share with them about their own experiences, their own career and college paths, and how help students understand what is involved in those jobs. The other thing that's really important is just the overall workplace skills, what we call employability skills, things like writing a resume or having a job interview, writing cover letters, working in professional environments. It's very different if you're in an office at a computer than if you're on a construction site, and understanding the different expectations of those places. And the third thing about work-based learning that's so important, especially to me as a math teacher, is helping students recognize that what's happening in the classroom is relevant to what happens in the workplace, and how they can draw connections between their classroom learning and then apply those things on these work-based learning experiences. So we're going to talk about a few of the options that are available. The first one I want to talk about are what are called our design challenges. These are opportunities where students work, sometimes individually, sometimes in teams, depending on the project, on some sort of task that is provided to them by a partner, by a teacher, by somebody in the industry, where they're going to work to come up with some kind of a solution or some kind of a presentation about this task. And along the way, they are going to be getting mentorship and guidance and critique from professionals in the field. So on the left, we have a couple of our collaborations from recent years with Department of Buildings. We work with them every year on a project to celebrate Black History Month in February. A few years ago, there was a project around the historic jazz clubs of New York City. The students got to go visit the clubs, meet the owners, meet the performers, and come up with some presentations about that. They've done other ones about famous New York City Black architects. But along the way, they're constantly getting feedback and refining their projects before the final presentation. On the right, we have Chandler, who is currently a student in the architecture school at Temple University. She graduated last year. She was in the first year we did a project with SVA, the School of Visual Arts, and it was a ground floor incubator program where students were coming up with products that they felt were missing in the market, and it was about product design, but also marketing and packaging, and the whole concept was about trying to understand what is needed and then how you as a designer, creator can meet that need. The initial year of the program, it was an after-school program with people coming in to give a lot of feedback. It has since been incorporated into one of our other classes where, again, the students are then talking to community members and figuring out about how they can come up with designs or products that would, help improve people's lives. We've already heard a little bit about ACE mentorship from some of the students. It is a really, really excellent program that students at all levels can get involved in from 9th grade on. It's sort of what I call, you get a really good bang for your buck. It's 2 hours a week, once a week, starting in late October through May. Obviously, it's all virtual now. And the students get to work in these teams, both with their WHSAD colleagues, but also with students from other schools, and then with professionals in architecture, construction, and engineering. And again, they are given some sort of task or some sort of problem that they have to solve. This is an example from a few years ago where the group was working on modular homes that could be used in areas of natural disasters. Specifically, they were looking at an area in Colombia in South America where it is very prone to mudslides. And they were looking at what could they design that could be built quickly to help people in the event of a natural disaster. ACE is a really, really excellent program. It's a nationwide program. New York City is the largest chapter. Students who participate all 4 years are eligible to apply for college scholarships, and we have a number of students who've earned those over the recent years. They're also in the process. I think it was supposed to start this year, and I'm assuming it didn't because of COVID. They're launching a summer internship program for college students who were ACE participants in high school. So when you finish ACE at the end of high school, your relationship with them doesn't end. It actually continues, and you can keep working with those mentors who helped you along the way. Site visits, this is our version of field trips, but WHSAD field trips are a little bit different because we have these partners who are interested in interacting with our students. We get to go behind the scenes in a lot of places where the average visitor would not get to be. On the top left, you can see our visit a few years ago prior to construction at the TWA terminal at JFK. The gentleman who met us there that day was the vice president of the Port Authority, and he was in charge of the project, and he spoke with the students not only about his career path and how he got to where he was, but also the challenges of this project. How do you do a huge construction project in the middle of one of the busiest airports in the world? How do you talk about the historic nature of the building and what you can and can't change because of what is landmarked and needs to be preserved? And it's not a place a lot of people would get to see. It has now reopened as a hotel at JFK. Similar experience on the top right. This was our visit to St. Patrick's Cathedral. The gentleman in the orange vest was the head of the preservation engineering team. And he'd actually come to school the week before the visit to talk to the students about what they were going to see, to bring samples of the stone and talk to them about the challenges that they were facing in trying to restore St. Patrick's. Again, keeping it open to the public and keeping it safe for the public while it was happening. The students got a really great sort of behind the scenes visit there. The two photos on the bottom are from part of a summer program for students who were under 16 through SYEP, where they got to work and visit sites specifically on the left related to sustainability. That's a green roof in, I think it's in Manhattan, where they got to go and learn about the changes that are happening to existing buildings to help make them more environmentally friendly here in New York. And on the right, it was a visit to a model workshop in an architecture firm. There's a lot of facets to architecture that are not just drawing buildings or on AutoCAD or making blueprints. You also have people who are building models. You have people who are designing interiors. You have people who are doing the 3D rendering. So a lot of it is about exposing students to all of those other options within architecture. And certainly model building is something that, if you're very good at those, fine attentions to detail, can be a really interesting way to be involved in the field. Workplace exploration, these are our partnerships with specific companies or organizations that bring groups of students for sort of off-site classes. Architectural Grill is a manufacturing company in Gowanus in Brooklyn, and they manufacture metal grills, as you can see the students holding. And the program started a number of years ago as an opportunity for students to learn sort of that beginning to end manufacturing process. So they do the designs in AutoCAD, they research the different types of designs that are available, they do their own designs, they get to print them, they get to finish them, they learn that whole manufacturing process beginning to end. We've also have students who have interned there working on designs for the company itself. And we had a student a number of years ago who was offered a job there after graduation, and he worked there for several years while he was in college for the first few years. So a great way to learn about some other ways that you can take your AutoCAD skills and transition them to a related field, but not specifically designing buildings. Makeville is a woodworking studio, also in Gowanus, where students get to go and take classes in woodworking using different tools, whether it's hand tools or machine tools. This class that these students took was on the lathe, which is how you do anything that is rounded, like the spinniels on a banister or something like that. They learned how to use it, and they made these lamps that they also then did the electrical wiring for. We also have a partnership with a screen printing company in Greenpoint, where students also get to learn aspects of screen printing and that kind of graphic design. And we were supposed to start in the spring a partnership with a ceramic studio. Obviously, that got put on hold, and we're hoping that sometime in 2021 we'll be able to relaunch that. And then internships. You've already heard a little bit from Matthew about his experience with one of his internships. Internships are a great opportunity for students to get that hands-on work experience. There's a lot of different ones. We have a lot of different partners who offer internships for our students. These here are at Greenwood Cemetery, which is one of our original internship partners way back in 2009. Greenwood is interesting because a lot of people don't always think of a cemetery as a place where students would be working. But since 2009, this year accepted, We have had students working on their restoration crew and actually learning about the different materials involved and how do you restore and repair monuments that have been damaged or have fallen over. We also have students who work in the archives doing research. Greenwood's almost 200 years old. So in addition to having very old stones, they also have very old receipts and photographs and other things. So it's a great way for students to learn some history. If they want the hands-on, they're learning some great material science. They're doing physics because these are very heavy and you have to work with pulleys to lift them up potentially. So a really excellent experience. It's a little bit different and not something that most students would think of as an internship experience. We have some other ones that I just want to highlight. On the left, on the top, we have Joseph, who worked at Brooklyn Borough Hall in the Office of Topography. That is where they maintain all the maps for the borough of Brooklyn. So anytime there's a change in a building, the map has to be updated. And if you are in Brooklyn or most parts of New York these days, you see a lot of change happening. So the students have been working there since 2014 to keep those maps updated. That maps are done in AutoCAD. So the students get to help with maintaining all that documents and using those AutoCAD experiences from school in the workplace. On the bottom left, we have Jonathan, who interned at Silman, which is a structural engineering firm in the city. They've worked on projects like Carnegie Hall and the New York Public Library. He did some work in their marketing department. He got to go on some site visits and work with some project managers to learn about the engineering field and really learn more about the engineering side of the architecture. And on the right, we have some students, another hands-on experience at a place called Portside, which is a decommissioned oil tanker in Red Hook that is being restored and converted to a floating maritime museum. So again, a combination of both some hands-on preservation and also some history. I'll talk quickly about a few other opportunities that I want to highlight that our students have access to. The first is construction skills. This is a pre-apprenticeship program for students interested in the building trades, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, ironworkers, laborers. Students participate in the spring of their senior year and they get what's called direct entry to the unions. So they don't have to go through the lottery system in order to be placed in the apprenticeship program through construction skills. We have a number of students who have participated in that. Some are still in their apprenticeship, some have finished and actually become journey persons. Pratt Young Scholars is a portfolio development and review program through Pratt Institute. Students apply at the end of 9th grade. This is for students who are very interested in going to college, where their college applications are going to require portfolios, so certain art schools or things. Great opportunity for that portfolio development. CTEISP is another internship program through the Department of Education. SYEP, Ms. Basilio has already mentioned, and Work, Learn, Grow, those are through St. Nick's Alliance, which is our neighborhood partner. And then I briefly want to mention community service. For a lot of students, that's a great introductory way to get involved with some of our partners is doing community service. We have a lot of connections in the neighborhood and in Brooklyn in general, and it's a great way for students to take their skills outside of the building and contribute to the wider community. So I am going to stop there. If you have any questions, you can feel free to write them in the chat or ask them later when we have the Q&A, but I'm going to pass it back to Ms. Basilio.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Does anyone have any additional questions at this time, especially regarding our work-based learning program? And once again, please feel free to enter these questions on chat. We have several current students very, very eager to type up some answers for you. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our senior architecture teacher, as well as some of our alumni, Mr. Codio. Hi, Mr. Codio.
Hi, Ms. Lucano. Thank you so much. You able to hear me?
Can hear you just
awesome.
fine.
Okay, awesome. So once again, welcome. Thank you so much for spending the time out to join us with the open house. I'm Mr. Codio, the senior architect teacher, along with work with the projects, with Summer Bridge, work with Ms. Wilson with the internship opportunities with the students, because one of the things that Ms. Wilson showed you was all the opportunities that is there for our students. So I'm going to briefly talk about what's behind the scene, how we make it happen, how we prep the students in terms of getting them career ready as well as getting ready for these internships. So without further ado, one of the key things that make it work is the technology that we have. So Keston, go next. So with the technology that we have at our school, we're able to actually give the students the opportunities to show way before they start the internship, to be able to work with the design concepts and as well as in their classroom. So go to the third slide, Kester. Thank you. So I'm going to briefly talk about one little bit some of the programs that we have. So we don't only have AutoCAD, but mainly because we get our certification through AutoCAD, that's one of the main focus from the beginning of this freshman year to the senior year. But one of the greatest opportunities that we offer our students before they even start their freshman year in the bridge program, to actually research these programs, work with these programs at our schools, such as 3D Max, Rhinoceros, Maya, Fusion 360, Autodesk, the whole Adobe suite. So once again, these are all the programs that is architects, designers need to know, especially when they go to off to college as well as work at the firm, because as Wilson stated, just because you go to an architecture firm doesn't mean that you're just going to focus on just blueprints. It doesn't mean that you're just going to focus on 3D modeling. You might end up doing animation. You might end up working in the presentation department. So that's one of the greatest aspects that makes the school works, because we offer them the industry programs as well as what's needed in college prior to them graduating. Next. And here comes the technology. One of the things that we push, that we make sure we have, is the updated technology, so our students don't have to manufacture some of the products and prototypes outside of the school. Everything could be done in-house as well. So some of the machines that we have, going from left to right, the F-170 is a high-tech tower 3D modeling machine that allows you to actually, after your design is created in CAD, Rhino, or 3D Max, you can be able to print it out and do a great presentation, because one of the key aspects about a design presentation, to be able to show some of the models, so some of the prototype, and build it to a certain scale so others could actually visualize it, as opposed to just looking at in front of the screen. Then we have the large scale plotters. So that's why sophomore year is very important for students to know how to plot their designs, as well as read blueprints and floor plans and elevations. We have the technology to print those out as well. Along with, you'll see the presentation, the Promethean board, how students could be able to present. So each week, every 2 weeks, every week, students are presenting their design concepts, ideas, but they have the technology to be able to present that. So we go to the next slide. So here's one of the things that we mentioned. So you've seen some of these designs from Wilson's slides, but this is how the process works in terms of how we use the technology to make everything work and actually present. So prior for us going to these Department of Building to present the design, we practice. We create the prototypes in-house, and we get ready. We prep ourselves up, and students collaborate with each other in terms of how to actually articulate, how to actually present the design in front of the clients, especially when we have design presentation and projects. Next. So here's another example, as Ms. Wilson showed. This is one of the projects from Department of Buildings, where students had the ability to actually do these engraving inside the house, inside the building WHSAD, as opposed to just outsourcing it. So that's one of the greatest advantage for the school, to be able to have the technology as well. Next. So once again, check out the WHSAD for the architectural classes. So our classes doesn't only involve being inside of the classroom. We have a lot of projects, especially when senior year comes, where it's called the business of architecture, a lot of job site visits, a lot of meetings with actual clients, because they're going to choose a business, and we're going to actually facilitate that they work alongside with our community partners to work on these projects. So senior year, brings everything in together. It aligns everything from understanding how to read floor plans, how to do basic design principles, how to do designs, both sketching and on the computer. Next. So, and one of the things that make WHSAD great is due to the fact that hello? Okay, sorry. So that's where we make sure that we emphasize that we show the architectural component, but we also show the design components. On the bottom, the junior year class is one of the key aspects that brings everything together, where we have our administration staff that works alongside with us, and as well as the teachers, to make sure the students get everything and realize that the skill set we have, we make sure we instill in them. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to three of the alumni that actually came back to talk about their experiences. So we're going to have Majorly, followed by Jalen, then Ramon Williams.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm Majorly. I just recently graduated this June. I am currently attending Iona College up in New Row. And right now I'm actually on break from my first semester, just finished it. And I kind of just wanted to tell you guys my experience with WHSAD and share with you guys my experience and how I feel about the school and all that. So basically, I also really wanted to say about, I know everybody was speaking about the opportunities WHSAD gives to its students, but I wanted to talk about my personal experience. I know that internships were a really big thing for me because over the summer of 2018, I got the pleasure of working at the Neighborhood Preservation Center in St. Mark's. That was really dope. I got to work with amazing people. It was a small office though, but we create a bit of change. You know, we really focused on historical streets and landmarks and ways to preserve it, which is technically the name, Neighborhood Preservation Center. Then over the summer of 2019, I got to work at Brooklyn Borough Hall in downtown Brooklyn in the topographic office. I know Miss Wilson actually talked a little bit about that because a former student, Joseph, I believe, he worked in the office as well. So that was a really great experience. I got to be more hands-on in the working field, which is something that every individual under the age of 18 wants to do just to build up their resume. I know that WHSAD gives its students a lot of opportunities, which is great because once you get out of high school, you know, you have to be 18 to mostly necessarily get a job. So it's great to know that even before you turn 18, you have some experience and some experience in the working field, which was actually really great, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to look for a job, and I know that I actually have an advantage because I do have certain things on my resume that other candidates may not. WHSAD also offers they have different clubs. I know that they also have sports. I necessarily wasn't a very sports person, but I did do yearbook my senior year, and because of COVID, everything actually spiraled really easy. But we did manage to create a great yearbook and sum up all the memories throughout the 4 years in a very special book. That was also really fun. I got to work with different teachers like Codio. I know my English teacher, I got to work with her. She was actually the one who monitored us. Different teachers all around. You just got to really work with them. And with WHSAD, I know we're all like a really big family. Like I know Codio used to tell us this. Like Codio was like, "You guys are my daughters and my sons." And honestly, that's really how it feels. It's a very welcoming environment. There's never a dull day. There's always something to do. There's always a project going on. There's always a trip going on. Just ways that you can really be hands-on. And in any way you can explore your creativity. There are different classes that WSAD offers, like in your senior year and I believe your junior year for AP. I know in my junior year I took AP US History, and yeah, I think it was just AP US History. But then my senior year I took AP Environmental and I took AP Spanish. And because of these classes, I did get to take the AP test for all of them. I did receive credit for my AP Spanish test, which now is actually very beneficial to me because now in college, I don't really need to take a foreign language course because I do have that credit already, which is something great. That's saving money, that's saving my time. And it's something that I have to thank WSAD for, because I know that from all the different experiences and everything that I have done throughout my 4 years in WSAD, I would not have been able to get that experience and that journey in another school, in another high school. And honestly, I was very blessed to have met amazing educators, amazing mentors, and work in different programs and projects throughout my 4 years. WSAD is honestly really amazing. So, yeah.
Thank you, Marjorie. I think Mr. Codio is running into some connection issues, so I'd like to
Yeah,
introduce our.
are you able to hear me?
I can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So now I'm going to just introduce you one of the students at Howard right now, actually his fourth year, Mr. Jalen Vasquez.
Hey, Cody. I wasn't too sure if you wanted to introduce me or I was just gonna go right after. But how you doing? I'm a fourth-year architecture major pursuing a 5-year master's degree at Howard University, and I could say that SAD definitely did prepare me as far as maybe 2 years into my master's program. They had all the AutoCAD programs down packed. Like it was literally like memorized in my head by that time. And you don't even use AutoCAD mostly in college the first year, so you're way ahead of the curve as far as like drawings, hand drawings, and the opportunities are also like a huge part of WSAD, which I really adored about them, because not all high schools really offer as much as what WSAD gives you as far as like technical skills and just being ready to go out into the field. I feel like I was prepared for that right off the bat. Like as soon as I graduated, I feel like I could get a job in the field. But that's just they help build your confidence for that type of thing. And yeah, Howard is not too far off. WSAD basically gives you like all the preparation that you need to sort of get your career started. And it is long hours. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's long hours and a lot of work. But in the long run, it's definitely gonna be worth it. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate all you guys. Definitely choose this school to go to. You'll be very happy with your decision.
Ramon?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Ramon Williams. I actually graduated WSAD quite a while ago. It was actually in 2014. I went to Franklin and Marshall College. That's a school in Lancaster, and I majored in astrophysics and I minored in Chinese. And I'm currently doing my master's in mechanical engineering at Carnegie Mellon University. So, just coming back and speaking here for WSAD is a testimony of just the community that they build, and the reason that you want to always come back is because they create relationships first, and they think about the students and they prepare you. I remember coming into my first year of college and just feeling prepared, knowing what I wanted to do and knowing the direction that I wanted to do. And this came from the foundation that was built here at WSAD. And as I hear some of the programs that they speak about, it's amazing to see these programs that are still alive and how many things that they've added on to it. And I'll just kind of go through a couple programs that I would say that has built my foundation, has changed my life, and I continue to draw from as I continue. So I think about the Co-op Tech program,
And I think they call it now CTE certified. So getting that chance to get that technical experience, I did solar electrical. And that was really the first time that I realized that, yes, I love architecture, but there's something about engineering. And if I wasn't at WHSAD, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to, one, be CTE certified, to get that technical experience and really find out what my love is. So I will always remember that. That Pace University Upward Bound, it was like another college preparatory course. And it was actually the organization that nominated me for a scholarship to go to Franklin and Marshall College. And there I got a full tuition scholarship, and I went to undergrad, no debt. So I cannot say that that's another blessing that I always go, oh my gosh, like if I wasn't in a Pace Upward Bound program and if I didn't get that scholarship, I wouldn't be here today. The ACE mentorship program was the first time that I worked in an architectural office, and I seen the collaboration between teams, the architects and the engineers coming together. And they were actually at that time working on, I think it was Grand Central when they was doing some of the remodeling. And to be a 16-year-old student and just to see such scale, you start to vision where you can be and where you want to be and just how many opportunities there are for you. And it just gives you that drive to want more. Skills USA was a club that allowed me to compete nationally doing architectural drafting. And I realized that the skills that I'm learning at this school, I'm able to go and compete nationally and compete at their level and win. So these things they just continue to build. And I think the last thing I want to talk about is the special projects, because it's something that you may not think about when you first hear it, but the project that WHSAD does with the community, that chance to give back and pay it forward, it builds in you the importance of giving back, the importance of giving to somebody who doesn't have as much as you. And it showed me the kind of person that I wanted to be, that yes, I wanted to be successful, but I always wanted to give back to where I was from. And I always wanted to try to help somebody else. So WHSAD is not just building technical skills, they're building characters, they're building individuals. And it will always be my testimony that WHSAD was the place where I found this foundation and it was able for me to get to this level where I'm at my master's right now and I'm doing product design. And the skills that I learned at WHSAD, I'm still using today. I'm actually working on a project with NASA, and the programs that I learned at WHSAD, it's been applicable in the things that I'm doing now. So these are connections that will be for a lifetime. And I will always say that WHSAD was one of the best choices that I made. So I hope that y'all make this choice and come to WHSAD. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jalen, Ramon. Always great to see you. Jalen, big surprise. Didn't know you were coming this evening. So very happy to see your face. But if anyone has any questions at this time, we're more than happy to answer them. I see some questions in chat as well. Okay, so without any further ado, I'd like to introduce our final presenter of the evening, our parent coordinator, Ms. Chu. Hi, Ms. Chu.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Okay, so like I said, I want to just reiterate what all my coworker and all the students said before. Thank you very much for coming this evening. And I just hope that, during the presentation, we gave you some information that's going to be helpful when you start the process of selecting the high school that the student and the parents are going to be looking for the next 4 years. In the process, if you have any question or any concern about our school or anything that we did not address during the presentation, please feel free to contact me. I'm always available. You can reach me at chu@whsad.org. So thank you again once for coming, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. All of you. All the parents who attended this meeting, come next July. And thank you again.
And thank you, all the staff, students, former and current who have attended, and thank you, families, for attending as well. And we will be sticking around for a little while longer. If you'd like to ask some questions, I'm going to start recording.